All right, so we are back on the Etobicoke Creek Trail going north. Hoping it's a little bit clearer than it was last week when we were here. You may notice a considerable shift in quality this week. I have gotten myself a new GoPro. This one is newer, so it has all the hyper smooth features, so the footage, you know, it's not gonna look like I was shooting out of a potato last time. Last time I came here I was shooting in 1080p on the Session 5, which is like a 4K camera, but I noticed 1080p had better stabilization because I went out yesterday on the road bike in 4K and the footage was so shaky it gave me a migraine just scrubbing through it. So I was like, that's enough. If I want to, you know, continue having fun with this, I gotta up the game a little bit. So I went ahead and got this GoPro. This one's better because it's interchangeable batteries. Allows me to go on longer rides, better footage to work with, 4K, 5.3, but who's using 5.3? But yeah, 4K stabilized footage, shoot you a good time. I have some things on order for this, like screen protectors and stuff, basic stuff. But I also have like the dead cats for the mics. So just bear with the wind noise for this video. Next video onwards, it should be fine. We are back on the Cannondale, the Topstone 4. Yeah, honestly, this bike has been a lot of fun. Just riding it last week, this week, I've really been enjoying it. It's just so comfortable. Even though it's an alloy frame, it's still pretty compliant for the most part. I have some more like carbon fiber stuff coming in. Seat post, seat. That should help with the comfort. Make the bike lighter as well. But yeah, excited to see how that would happen. Yeah, it's definitely clearer this time. Had to get off last week for this. You know, I've been doing a lot of thinking as to what my plans with this bike were. You know, as soon as I got this bike, I think I got it on a Saturday. By Monday, I had purchased a new group set, the SRAM Rival 1x11 group set for this bike. And honestly, that was, I thought at the time, a great purchase, right? All I needed was bottom bracket, cranks, brake pads, chain, and the cost that I did not anticipate was the brake hoses. Bro, those things are so expensive. Almost $200 for the brake hoses. I'm looking at myself, doing the math on this conversion, and it's almost like $800, $900 all inclusive for everything, including like the rotors, the pads, hoses, new crankset and stuff. I'm just like, man, I do not want to spend another $800 on a bike when I could like just spend a little bit more and get myself a better group set, you know what I mean? So for the time being, I've kind of scrapped that plan and I'm sticking to the current setup. You know, was this the Microshift 1x10 Advent X. Honestly, this group set is not bad. People on the internet, they love to complain, you know, compare everything to like the newest Shimano Durace Di2 or the SRAM Red, but like this group set, I feel like at a budget point holds its own, right? The shifts are smooth. Is it like it's just like it's a 10 speed, right? So like you're not gonna have the same like ratios in between the gears. So yeah, sometimes you're gonna shift to a bigger cog and it's gonna be a huge jump. Sometimes you're gonna shift to a tighter cog and then the cadence is gonna change. But overall, it's still pretty good. The one weak point I mentioned earlier was the mechanical disc brakes, which yeah, the front brake at least is loud, rear brake not so much, but they do stop. All right, like it's not unusable in any sense. A lot of people like to pretend like anything controlled by cables is unusable. That's not the case. Groupset is nice and snappy, can't complain there. The brakes, although they're a little noisy, they do a good job stopping. So yeah, that's good. The hood position, not super comfortable. We'll have to do something about that, but that's a problem for later. But yeah, that's where my head's at with this bike. Kind of want to keep it as is. I think the only upgrade I am actually going to do is get the hybrid calipers for the brakes. So cable actuated hydraulic brakes, right? Dual piston. I think that should eliminate many of the gripes that people have with this bike, and that's a fairly budget-friendly upgrade as well. So I think people will appreciate it, rather than spending 800 bucks on a group set. Spend 100 bucks on new brakes, call it a day. So yeah, future upgrades, carbon parts. We're getting the hybrid calipers, and then I think that should put this bike in a pretty good place for the rest of the season. And then as the season starts closing, I can kind of start evaluating my options, whether or not I want to keep the bike, get a different gravel bike. You know, depends on how much I'm enjoying this kind of riding. I've been kind of scoping out the gravel routes in the area, more of these trails. I've kind of, you know, mapped out a few routes for me to take. One of the main ones is like 120 kilometer city loop, which I was doing on the road bike up until I got this bike. I think now I might actually do it on this bike because it's just a little more comfortable for trails like this, and like 90% of that route is trails like this. So I think it just makes sense to use a bike like this. Into the future of this, you know, video making thing, I do love doing the long rides, right? I'm a pandemic cyclist. I got into cycling again after like, I don't know, middle school. By the time I got like into the pandemic, I got my first hybrid bike, and then it was just, you know, a thing from there. Just bike after bike after bike after bike, exploring different types of riding, what I enjoy. But yeah, got into cycling because of, like, I guess the Toronto scene OGs. CJ Hoyle, used to watch his videos of, like, you know, bike packing on his recumbent bike across Ontario, or like going on trails and stuff. We had Johnny Strides, who, like, you know, he really captured the pandemic on the roads and how empty everything used to be. So yeah, just watching his videos. And who else? Cycle YYZ with the COVID diaries. Just from there went on to like other YouTubers, you know, smaller people, not about following and stuff, but they just made great content about cycling in the GTA. the Greater Toronto area, and then it just helps me get out on the bike, explore the different trails, because like I didn't even know like these cities had such a large trail network until I saw it cycling and started watching these videos, right? So like I want to do a little bit more of that, kind of show how these trails can all be linked together maybe. And how even though if you're riding from Brampton, you can go all around Toronto on a bike with minimal use of actual roads, traffic, none of that. And like, I don't think people really recognize how accessible, you know, the trail network is here. I want to help show that a little bit. Yeah, the distances are big, right? Like if I were to commute to work, it would be almost like 45 kilometers, like an hour and a half, 2 hour ride every morning, which is definitely doable. I don't know what you shoot here. Yeah, this is beautiful. But yeah, you know, I want to show that at least this summer I can go on those rides, make some videos to show people how these trails are connected to each other. And really, if you want to start in Brampton and end up in Scarborough, start in Brampton, go to Richmond Hill, north, you can. Yeah, it might take long. It's gonna be a fun time. We got some rail trails and stuff around here as well. I want to do more of that. Just explore, you know, I've never done rail trail riding. This is gonna be fun. With this bike, it opens up those opportunities. It's one of those things. In terms of other future rides, you know, we have Bike the Creek that we've registered for. To be honest, for the groups, which is like pretty much cycling on these trails. We're going up north towards Caledon. There's like a 70k loop, some rural roads, as well as some trails. That should be a fun time. Going to be doing that on the tarmac. I have registered for the Baycrest, Anatomy Homes, Baycrest, Bike for Brain Health, which is another 75k loop of the Gardiner Expressway, which is a major highway in downtown Toronto, cuts right through the city, and the Don Valley Parkway, which has beautiful trails right beside it. But this time we're going to be on the actual highway, which is shut down for the day, and everybody complains about the traffic that it creates. And I'm going to be one of those people on the highway this year, hopefully. So yeah, really looking forward to that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Starts with the CNE, the Canadian National Exhibition Grounds, all the way up to almost the 401, which is the Trans-Canada Highway. It goes all the way across. I'm assuming if you're watching this video, you're somewhere in the GTA, so you'd know what these places are. But yeah, really looking forward to it. It should be a really fun time. Excited to go home and kind of see what the footage of this is all like with the new GoPro. I was in between, obviously, the GoPro, the Insta360, or the one I wanted most was the DJI Osmo Action 4. That one looks like a great camera, very cinematic. All the great footage. I think it's like the best in the night mode as well. I think the Insta360 is up there as well, but I think it's just, in terms of quality of footage, my personal preference would be the DJI. It just looks less processed than 360. Whoa! And our chain came off. I was not expecting that. The flip. Well, that's one complaint with the group set then. Any scratches? Nah, not really. We're good. The heck was that? Well, I haven't experienced a chain drop in so long. It's almost surprising. Also, I'm not used to riding low tire pressures, so it looks like my tire is flat. I think I'm just fat, but yeah, this trips me out every time. When I check, there's air. I should definitely put a pump on this bike, like a frame pump or a little pocket one that I have. I've been a little lazy ever since the winter season came by, and then all these bike swaps were happening. He just took everything off the bike, stripped them completely down, right? Because I was selling them and whatnot. I just haven't put my emergency kit back on the bike, little saddlebag. I think. Because it is very foolish to be riding out without it. It's just one of those things that you won't need until you need it, and when you need it, it's too late.